What's up, guys? Welcome back to Culture Cantina. I'm one of your hosts, Rocky Kari.
And I'm Sri Kari.
And today we are reviewing Tenet, the new movie by Christopher Nolan, and one of the new movies to come back to theaters.
Honestly, before we get into Tenet, it just felt amazing to get back into a theater again. Theaters, for the most part, are reopened. They're taking precautions, masks, social distancing. And yeah, it just felt great to be back in a theater for once.
It was awesome. Yeah, just getting popcorn, being in a dark theater. Yeah. It was the best.
It was awesome.
So we both are really big fans of Christopher Nolan. I mean, if you're a movie person, like who isn't? His films are just some of the greatest films of all time. So having a new movie by him, we just had to go see it, especially in theaters, which is just such a treat for Christopher Nolan movies.
So for Tenet, going into it, I was trying to stay away from the trailers, and the only thing I heard about it was that it was extremely confusing, and it was extremely confusing. This movie, the plot, it takes on a very interesting concept, and I thought the concept of it was very cool, but at the same time, the plot was very messy. I didn't really understand what it was going. It didn't really explain to you well what was happening, why it was happening. And even when you're trying to figure it out, it just created such a difficult environment for you to do that.
Yeah.
Another big problem I did have with the movie is it is extremely hard to understand. Like literally understanding what people are saying. Like it just sounds mumbled with the sound. Like sometimes the music or the sound overcomes the actual dialogue, and then you can't hear them. So in a plot that's so convoluted and confusing, it made it very challenging to understand what they were saying. Also, which just created a very messy kind of plot. I will say that I thought the acting was very good. John David Washington as the lead actor in this, he did a great job. I did like him a lot in BlacKkKlansman, and I thought he did a great follow-up to this. Another standout performance in this was Kenneth Branagh and his character. I actually thought he did the best job out of all the characters.
Wow.
It was just a solid role, and I think he just did it very, very well. Other pros to the movie, Christopher Nolan is just an amazing director. His ability to shoot, get good shots, edit, sound, lighting, it's just an amazing talent that he possesses. And that was very prevalent in this film. The visual effects were very, very good. Again, with the concept, they did a really good job managing that. There were some really great action sequences in here. But yeah, I kind of, just taking a step back, it just was a very confusing plot and story. And at the end, you just kind of feel like, okay, that's it. The difference was, unlike Inception, this movie didn't make me want to read or do more work after the movie to figure it all out. Just because I just didn't feel that connection,
yeah.
You know? Inception is one of the greatest movies of all time, and I think that movie, it does a way better job explaining it. It does a way better job, you can understand them,
yeah.
And you kind of want to talk about it and dig a little bit deeper. But with this movie, I just kind of felt like, whatever, I don't even know if I do read if I'm going to understand it.
Yeah.
So I will say that it is probably my least favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, again, his catalog is just
insane.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Tenet is being compared to some very, very incredible movies. So, given that, it's probably my least favorite out of Christopher Nolan's movies. Overall, very confusing, hard to understand. It was entertaining at parts, and there were good elements of it. But overall, I thought it was kind of just a shrug.
Yeah, so going off of that, I would say that this movie I agree that it's very complex, but it's complex to the point where it's inaccessible. I feel like movies like Inception and Memento, those are two that I want to cite, are that they're I don't want to say they're confusing. They're complex, but they're still accessible because, not spoiling them, but by the end you understand where we started and where we ended. But for Tenet, I don't know what happened. and this is coming from people who understood Memento and Inception.
Yeah, right.
And Interstellar even. And so that, I feel like, it's just such an inaccessible movie that it's hard for me to recommend it to people, which knocks the movie down for me. I think the premise is really interesting, but not spoiling anything, when they're explaining the big premise of the movie, one of the characters says, don't think about it too much. But I feel that no, I'm going to think about it too much because it's such an out there concept They don't really explain the rules of it. I mean, maybe they do, but it's like you said, it's so hard to understand what they're saying. And I think Christopher Nolan really cared about the premise and the world building rather than the characters. But I think that the characters, no matter what movie, are the most important. So I feel like he's an amazing director, but I think he kind of missed the mark on that. That's just my opinion. But I cannot say that the effects were bad, because the effects, all the practical effects, like the things moving backwards and forwards, the action scenes with the explosions and everything, like just the way that he was able to shoot it, it was like top tier filmmaking. He is just insane when it comes to that. So I can't say it's a bad movie, because when I came out of the movie, I was really angry. I was like, I hated the plot. I was like, it's too inaccessible for me. But I can't say it's a bad movie because the techniques that he's doing, regardless of the writing, like just the filmmaking, is amazing. So I feel like that has to be commended.
I do agree with you, but at the same time, like you said, characters and plot are the most important part of a film.
Yeah.
So like I agree with you, it's not a bad film.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to give Christopher Nolan a pass just because he's very, very talented.
Yes, I'm not gonna. Yeah. Because like you said that it's your least favorite. I agree. Yeah. It's my least favorite Christopher Nolan film, because you don't get any moments like in Inception with his wife, or Memento throughout the whole thing of Memento, or Interstellar with his daughter. You don't really get stuff like that. Yeah. So
you do get a little bit of emotion from the female lead.
Yes, Elizabeth Debicki and Kenneth Branagh, they both really bring a lot of emotion. You said Kenneth Branagh did a really good job. I think also Elizabeth Debicki also did really good, but they're not the main thing. Yeah. John David Washington and Robert Pattinson are the main people, and their characters just didn't give it to me. So
maybe just to add on your point, I think another thing that I thought of was, you're right, the character development was just completely lacking in this. Like, there was no really progression of the character. John David Washington, he did a great job, but I didn't really understand his motive.
Yes.
Like, what really got him going? What was his, like, intent? What was... He kind of meant... They had kind of, like, monologues where, like, he wants to be a hero. Again, I don't want to get too spoiler into it, but, like, again, I didn't really get what got him ticking. So, again, I think I completely agree that the characters and the character development were really lacking in this film.
Yes. And we were also thinking, like all the rest of our reviews, of doing a spoiler talk for the second half of this video. But honestly, like, we'll get more confused. I think we'll confuse you guys. And I feel like we got all our points across without spoiling anything. So
we'll just leave it at the spoiler.
We'll just leave it at that. So, do you want to give your rating?
Yes. So I think, for me, this is tough. This is really tough, because I don't want to... I think I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. Again, it's not a good movie. Like, again, plot and characters matter, and coming out of a movie, giving some accessibility to understand what it all meant is very important, and you just don't get that in this, from my opinion. Again, I applaud the effects, some of the visuals here, some of the sequences, some moments, and the concept. But again, the movie kind of just left me empty. So again, it's very all over the place, but I think I'm just going to say 6 out of 10. It was okay. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
I completely agree with you. I am actually also going to give it a 6 out of 10 for that very same reason. And to add off of your points, Christopher Nolan movies, I feel like after I watch it, even Dunkirk, his latest movie, I still think about that movie sometimes. And Tenet, the few days after we watched it, like, I barely thought about it. I maybe mentioned it as a joke about, like, moving backwards or something, but other than that, like, I really didn't think about it. And as a Christopher Nolan movie, that's baffling. So, like you said, like, the characters are what's lacking the most, but the effects are great. So I can't say it's a bad movie, but I can't say it's a good one either, which is why we're going for a 6. Just okay.
And I think one last point that I wanted to say, you said this perfectly when we came out of the theater. In Inception, you have that moment with his wife.
Yeah.
In Dunkirk, you have that moment when he's flying over all the troops at the end.
Yeah.
These really beautiful, emotional moments. In
Don't
these
even
critically
get
acclaimed
started
films.
with the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, God, we're not even gonna go there. But like, you just don't get it in this film, which is just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, one other thing I wanted to say. So I mean, well, one other thing is, so do you recommend people go out and see this film in theaters?
Yes, if you're a film person. If you're just a casual moviegoer and you're like, I want to see a good movie, don't see this movie. But if you're into filmmaking and you like Christopher Nolan's work, definitely go see this movie. Like you gotta go see it.
I think that's beautifully said. I completely agree with you. One thing I would add on is just because, I mean, again, the world is crazy right now. Maybe don't go to theaters to see this movie, but definitely go back to theaters. Like, again, how we started this review, it was great to go back to a theater and just experience that again. It was our first time back since March. Like, it just felt really great and accomplishing. And, like, again, a lot of movies are starting to come back out in theaters again. And I just encourage anyone who's watching this film, it doesn't have to be Tenet. Go out, grab, your significant other, a good friend, family, whatever, and just, go see, or by yourself, go see a movie, because it's great that we have theaters back. Maybe it's not Tenet that you're the one that you go to see, but it's just good to have movies in theaters back again.
Amen, brother. Amen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and we will see you very shortly. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.